We have a lingering shower that is just beginning to dissipate, but there could be some flooding problems with that. Also, of course, another dangerously hot afternoon. I'll show you what to expect.
And breaking news we're following: a man is seriously hurt after being hit by an SUV this morning in Raleigh. What we know about that crash on New Bern Avenue.
An officer was shot and killed, as well as 3 others at a Manhattan office. And this morning on WRAL News, we are talking about what we know so far about the suspect.
Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us on this WRAL Weather Alert Day, our 5th one in a row. Hope you're hanging in there. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. We are tracking that heat all throughout our day. The storms, though, they're making their way through our area this morning as well.
Check out this video from our Garner Tower Cam overnight of all the lightning strikes lighting up the sky. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking that, plus more intense heat on the way for the day. And Elizabeth, one particular area in our viewing area has seen a lot of those lightning strikes.
Absolutely, and a lot of heavy rain, too, especially right around Johnston County. You can see the bulk of this cell has dissipated at this point. It did produce a lot of heavy rain, up to 2+ inches of rain. And there are reports along I-40 in Benson that part of the road is closed there. No backups, apparently, but a lot of heavy rain causing the potential for some issues there. There is a flood advisory in effect for parts of Johnston, Wayne, Sampson, and Harnett counties up to around 7 a.m. But it does definitely look like that rain is tapering off. We'll have another round potentially this afternoon, just a 20 to 30% chance. We'll walk through where that could be coming up on Futurecast. Of course, our bigger story is the heat. Today and tomorrow, we have a heat advisory in place for the afternoon. It'll feel like 102 to 108, and both days are WRAL Weather Alert days. It's a pretty start out there, but it's already warm. Downtown Raleigh, 75 with the dew point at 74. The heat index climbs into the triple digits by 11 a.m. and it'll feel like as hot as 107 this afternoon with an actual high of around 96. But big changes are coming in time for the weekend. We'll time out a cold front that could bring us some cooler air. Michelle?
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Michelle in for Ken Smith this morning, taking you out on the roads I-40 at Wade Avenue. A lot of people out there, but we are not seeing any delays. Maybe a little bit of brake tapping there, but that's pretty normal for this time of morning. That's a busy part of I-40. Taking a look at the traffic map, we are tracking one crash up in Durham this morning. This popped up about 30 minutes ago. We're not seeing any delays from this crash. This is happening Fayetteville Street near Cornwallis Road. So if you were in that area, just be aware that there is a crash there. But again, we're not seeing any delays from that, so I'm going to keep an eye on that as the morning goes on. If you were in the Durham area right now, as I was saying, there are no delays on any of the major routes there. And remember, you can listen to us anytime, anywhere on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Michelle, thanks. Breaking news. Within the last 15 minutes, a stretch of New Bern Avenue in Raleigh has reopened. It was closed for more than 4 hours after a man was hit by an SUV. Ali Kadlubar explains what we know about the man's injuries.
Yes, police say that man who got hit is in the hospital. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker about 30 minutes after police got to the scene. You can see the damaged SUV. Its windshield is shattered. Raleigh police say this SUV hit a man walking on New Bern Avenue. It happened around 1:15 a.m. The man had life-threatening injuries. The driver was not hurt. That driver is cooperating with police. We are working to find out the condition of the man who was hit and what led up to this crash. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Kadlubar, WRAL News.
Breaking news, more than 1,000 homes and businesses in Johnson County are without power after overnight storms. Most of those outages are in the Benson area. South River Electric is working to restore power. Most Duke Energy customers who were affected did have their power restored in the last hour.
New York City is mourning the loss of 4 people after a mass shooting, and one of the victims was a New York City police officer. NYPD has identified that officer as 36-year-old Ditaral Islam. Law enforcement says the suspect is 27-year-old Shane Tamora of Las Vegas. They say he opened fire at a high-rise building yesterday evening. Police say he took his own life after shooting 5 people. 3 civilians were killed along with that police officer. The 5th person shot is in critical condition. And we're learning new information about the officer who was killed and the suspect as well. Let's turn to Chris Lovingood right now in the WRAL Live Center. With Chris, we know that the suspect, he had a history of mental health issues.
To our understanding, Jeff, including there is a source saying they found a note in the pocket of the suspected shooter, sort of indicating some sort of issue with the NFL in regards to CTE, that condition when you can receive concussions and cause some issues mentally. And this image that I'm showing you here on the screen, this is actually a surveillance video captured a moment when he was walking into the building, according to investigators. After opening fire in the lobby, he is accused of going into an elevator, and then apparently a woman saw him and then ran out of the elevator. We're learning from investigators also that he was firing into that building. But again, there's that note that I mentioned there saying, quote, "You can't go against the NFL, they'll squash you." And that's really all we know in that regard to him. But the other person we're talking about, just to leave you with this, Officer Didarul Islam, he was an immigrant from Bangladesh that moved to New York, and he was actually off duty when that shooting happened, but he was working security for that building. More information continues to pour into the WRAL newsroom. As soon as we get more of it, we'll report it here.
We know you'll be following it. And the shooting in Manhattan is not the only violent event to rock the U.S. 3 people were killed and 3 injured in another mass shooting yesterday in Reno, Nevada. And over the weekend, an attacker stabbed 11 people at a Michigan Walmart. WRAL spoke with the head of a company that trains schools and companies on how to respond to active threats. He is urging people to remain vigilant.
Another example of a tragic situation that's occurring across our country. I'd like to say that it's a surprising news story, but realistically, I think we're all aware of the number of times that this is happening in our society nowadays. So I think it just, overemphasizes the idea that we all need to be vigilant, be prepared, and have training for such a scenario.
Law enforcement veteran Seth DeSanto says there are 4 key things to remember if you ever find yourself in the middle of an active threat. Avoid the threat. Barricade yourself using items in your immediate area. Counter the threat if you find yourself face to face with the violent situation. And survive.
Intense heat we're experiencing is taking a toll on air conditioning units, and HVAC companies are seeing a lot of service calls as this heat wave drags on. Any Day Heating and Cooling owner Adrian Stevenson says their crews are working around the clock to repair broken ACs. He says they usually service 10 homes on average every weekend. Last weekend, they serviced 50 homes. Stevenson says most of the repairs happen because ACs just can't keep up with the intense heat. If you're having problems with your AC, he recommends checking your filters before you call an HVAC company.
I would say give it 24 hours to see if that makes a difference. We do find that dirty filters can be a common reason for why we're coming out for a no cooling call.
Stevenson says it's also common for the temperature to rise inside your house during the hottest time of the day, between 3 and 7 p.m. He says if the temperature goes up then, that does not mean your AC is broken, just can't keep up. So that temperature should adjust after sunset. You keep up on the latest weather advisories and forecasts with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It's free to download. Be sure to turn on the push notifications so you can get important alerts sent right to your home screen.
Today, a veto showdown in our state legislature. Lawmakers are set to vote to override a number of vetoes from Governor Josh Stein. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the legislative building this morning. Laura, more than a dozen bills are hanging in the balance.
Renee, good morning. Governor Josh Stein has vetoed 14 bills during his first 7 months in office. So veto overrides require the support of 3/5 of both chambers. Today, here at the General Assembly, we will see how lawmakers will decide to vote. Now, these votes we know are expected to test the power of Republicans in the legislature, where the GOP has veto-proof majority in the Senate, but is 1 seat shy of a supermajority in the House of Representatives. So that means Republicans would have to flip at least 1 Democrat in the House, provided all GOP lawmakers in the chamber vote to override the vetoes. The bills span issues from immigration enforcement, diversity programs, executive power, and gun rights, among other things. A WRAL state government reporter Will Doran explains the likelihood of getting a Democrat to flip.
We've also seen in the past sometimes, some Democrats might vote for it originally, but then when it comes time to override the governor's veto, they say, well, I like this policy enough to vote for it, but I don't really want to anger the governor, so I'm going to stick with him on this one.
So it will likely be a very long day for lawmakers here, and it all begins in the Senate this morning. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Laura, thanks for that. Also today, part of a street in Raleigh's Village District will be repaved after that water main break caused a giant sinkhole. Sky 5 flew over that scene as crews worked on Cameron Street yesterday. Raleigh Water says the pipes in that part of the city are from the World War II era and have reached the end of their life cycle. So crews fixed the pipe by the afternoon, then they filled the hole back up with gravel. The street reopened last night. They'll repave it today.
6:10 now. All eyes on North Carolina. The race for 2026 heating up as Roy Cooper launches a bid for Senate. The issues, he says, inspired this run for office.
And another hot one, our heat index will feel like 105 to 107 in the Triangle during the afternoon. But coming up, some changes just in time for the weekend. I'll show you.
Also battling the heat as high school athletes get ready for fall sports. The steps being taken to keep them safe during practice.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13, starting with dual Doppler 5000 radar, because we did have a few showers down here around Johnston County and southward. That has basically dissipated, but it did dump a lot of heavy rain early this morning, as much as 2+ inches. So we still have a flood advisory in effect from Smithfield down to Dunn and over toward Goldsboro and the northern part of Sampson County as well. So if you're in that area, just be cautious of some water out on the roads. That, of course, has dissipated. So what we'll see there should improve with time here shortly. Expect a 20 to 30% chance again this afternoon of some isolated showers and storms. They'll be slow moving, could dump some heavy rain. Here's a look outside. Wilson, Durham, Fayetteville, all looking pretty this morning. Temperatures are mainly in the mid-70s as you're stepping out the door. But of course, it's going to be another very hot afternoon. The heat index is going to make it feel like triple digits. Expect it to feel like 104 to 106 around the Triangle this afternoon. We do have a break in the heat coming later in the week. I'll show you when. Michelle?
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Taking you out on the roads this morning. Things have been okay so far. It is just after 6, so things will start to pick up soon. But right now, all of our major routes looking good this morning. Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Wendell, everything looking okay. This crash is the one that we've been keeping an eye on for about an hour now. Fayetteville Street near Cornwallis Road up in Durham. That has been there, but we are not seeing any delays. You can see all the green on the map there indicating no delays. And coming up in just about 3 minutes or so, I will have some drive times for you, Jeff.
We'll look forward to that, Michelle. Thank you. We are more than 460 days away from the 2026 general election, but at least one of our state's races is heating up quickly. Former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has launched his campaign for U.S. Senate. Cooper is seeking the seat being vacated by Republican Senator Thom Tillis, who's not running for re-election. In his first interview since his announcement, Cooper talked with MSNBC's Rachel Maddow about the issues he will be campaigning on.
There are so many bad things coming out of Washington that hurt the middle class and hurt people who are trying and dreaming of being in the middle class. Seeing the health care stripped away from them, seeing tax breaks for the wealthy and a pittance for them.
GOP leaders in our state have been critical of Cooper. NC GOP spokesperson Matt Mercer called him an elitist. Republicans are eyeing the Republican National Committee chair Michael Whatley as a candidate for this crucial race. Whatley has received an endorsement from President Donald Trump, but has not yet announced his campaign formally. You can check out WRAL.com or the WRAL News app for in-depth reporting on the Senate race. Our NC Capitol team has extensive coverage of this race, who is in and who is out.
Crews from our state are stepping up to help the people of Texas as they search for people still missing after deadly floods earlier this month. Nash County Sheriff's Deputy Jack Thorpe and his canine Fiji just returned from Kerr County, Texas. They were part of the team of cadaver dogs searching for people who were swept away by flood waters. This week, the State Bureau of Investigation sent 4 crews to do the same. John Taylor says this was a way to return the favor for Texas after Helene devastated western North Carolina last year.
You know, Texas sent a lot of resources to us last fall in the wake of Hurricane Helene, and it's the right thing to do. And not only is it the right thing to do no matter what, but to be able to repay and to help them back out in their time of need it's just an added sense of pride for our handlers and for myself and our agency.
It's the right thing to do. State SBI members will stay in Texas for at least the next 7 days to help.
This week, high school students across our area are starting outdoor practices during a tough stretch of dangerous heat. North Carolina High School Athletic Association has protocols to protect student athletes from heat illnesses. They have to have a licensed athletic trainer or first responder at practice. Students should have access to several water breaks per hour, and football players will start the season wearing minimal gear. They won't go full pads for a little while. Durham Athletic Director David Hackney says he is emphasizing heat safety education.
I've tried to make sure that our trainers are making sure that they are educating their student athletes on what those signs are. So that way, if they notice those signs, they can immediately let a coach know or immediately let the athletic trainer know.
And the State High School Athletic Association is telling parents to ask their child's school for their heat activity guidelines. They should check on the school's emergency action plan and make sure a licensed athletic trainer is on site right there. 6:18 the time right now. Yeah, we got a little stretch of time here with this hot weather. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. There's some hope on the way as the cold front comes, but we got to get through some of this today yet.
We do still have several days of some intense heat before we get there, but definitely light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, we're looking at dry conditions for the most part on dual Doppler 5000 radar, but we did have some overnight showers early this morning as well. Most of that has dissipated now, but we did have some heavy rain, and you can see here parts of Johnston County, Wayne County, parts of Sampson County, and back over toward Harnett County. Under that flood advisory, there were some reports that there was some flooding on I-40. Didn't look like it was causing any backups, but there's definitely a lot of heavy rain here, anywhere from an inch to 2 to 2.5 inches of rain in pockets around and south of Smithfield. Futurecast showing a lot of sunshine for us this morning and a lesser chance for storms today. Most of that looks like it might be back to our west. Still the possibility to have some storms over our area, but notice at 8 or 9 o'clock, a lot of that heavier rain is sitting back to our west. Still a 30% chance today, 40 tomorrow. And then a cold front arrives. That's going to bring us a chance of some strong to severe storms, potentially Thursday, and a good chance of rain on Friday. And then we're going to settle into some really nice weather for the weekend. Our forecast rainfall for the next several days could be as much as 2 to 2.5 inches in our southern counties and maybe an inch to an inch and a half in our northern counties. So still plenty of rain on the way, which is good news. As hot as it's been, the grass, the trees, everything is getting a little stressed. So rain toward the end of the week would be a great thing to see. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all seeing mainly clear skies this morning. We do have a WRAL weather alert day for our prolonged heat wave. It's going to feel like 102 to 108 this afternoon and tomorrow, and possibly even Thursday as well, depending on how quickly our front will get here. Front sinks southward. That's going to break our heat wave and up our chances for rain, especially Thursday and Friday. Friday in particular, we have a medium risk for flooding, so we'll be looking out for that. Still lots and lots of moisture in the atmosphere as this comes through. Look at the temperature outlook, though. Our average high is 90. We're looking at below average, and that means temperatures in the 80s, 87 Friday, and low 80s into the weekend and early next week. It'll be a nice break, Michelle.
Yeah, looking forward to that. All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Taking you out in Durham, I-885 at TW Alexander Drive. Couple people on the roads, but this particular stretch of road, we are not seeing any delays so far this morning. I am still monitoring that one crash that's been there in Durham just for about an hour or so. Not seeing any delays. Again, this has been there for quite a while. Fayetteville Street near Cornwallis Road, but not seeing any delays from that. I'll keep an eye on that and see if anything comes of that. Elsewhere around our area, we are looking free and clear. We are not going to encounter any delays so far this morning. If any, I do have the drive times for you. All zeros, not seeing any delays so far this morning. 101.5 HD3 is where you can find us on the radio.
Still ahead, detecting skin cancer. For Black people, signs can show up in unexpected places. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains how early detection can save lives.
Duke lawsuit, why the Trump administration is investigating the university's law journal.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
A record-breaking tour and the return to Pandora.
Let's take a look at what's trending this morning. Beyonce has wrapped up her record-breaking Cowboy Carter country tour. Billboard is reporting the tour brought in more than $400 million. That makes it the highest-grossing country music tour in Billboard history.
So it launched back in April, featuring 39 songs. That is some set. And, limited tour stops. Everybody waiting to see where it would be. Final weekend of the tour now. Beyonce calling it a dream come true for her.
Several of our coworkers went to go see Beyonce in Atlanta, and they loved it. So it was phenomenal.
Worth the travel. First trailer for the newest installment of the Avatar series is out and stars Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana. Will return in Avatar: Fire and Ash. The film hits theaters December 19th.
And this will be the third of 5 Avatar movies directed by filmmaker James Cameron. He says we'll see a lot more of Pandora and that it will be a feast for the eyes and very high emotional stakes. Just look at the visual effects.
James Cameron knows what's up.
Stunning.
Yeah.
A UNC Chapel Hill graduate is getting ready for a trip to the International Space Station. Zena Cardman is part of a 4-person crew that arrived at the Kennedy Space Center over the weekend. Their trip to space is set to begin Thursday. They will perform research, technology demonstrations, and maintenance activities. The group will also simulate moon landing scenarios.
We've had the ACC meetings. Time to talk some football. Wake Forest and Notre Dame will take their ACC football rivalry to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. They will play in the Duke's Mayo Classic. We're talking October 2027. And information on ticket pricing and availability will be shared at a later date. Still ahead this morning, a man was hit by an SUV. Raleigh police are investigating an early morning crash on New Bern Avenue. What we have gathered from officers at that scene.
And veto showdown. State lawmakers starting today on overrides of Governor Stein's vetoes. What Republicans need in order to get those bills to become law.
And of course, more heat on the way. Today and tomorrow are both WRAL weather alert days with heat advisories in place. I'll show you how hot it will feel the next few afternoons.